GMET. People with light or noise sensitivities are preparing for fireworks to light up the sky tonight. Now, the loud popping and flashing colors could potentially trigger an episode, especially in children. GMET's Andrea Valdez explains how parents with kids on the spectrum can create a safe environment for them that's still fun this 4th.
The July holiday brings with it cookouts, gatherings, and of course, you can't forget the fireworks. But the holiday could also be difficult for some families with children on the spectrum.
The sound of fireworks, the lights of fireworks, too many people in a crowd, the sound from people, that could increase behaviors.
Behavior analyst Margaret Hawkins with Monarch Prep is preparing families of neurodivergent children ahead of the holiday full of loud pops and crowded spaces.
Having a sensory kit, which could have noise-canceling headphones, or for the older kids, earbuds, helping them know what to look for, who to look for.
For families moving the festivities indoors, creating a safe room could help alleviate outdoor stressors or triggers. Founder of Neurodivergent Advocates of East Texas, Casey McCoy, has created a room like this for her daughter during a time of overwhelming sensations.
My daughter, who is on the spectrum, she has blackout curtains in her bedroom, and she also has options for lighting, so that way it's not direct.
It's basically noise canceling, noise deprivation, and any light deprivation.
Families can also get in on the fireworks fun. For this, McCoy suggests stocking up on firework alternatives.
They like those glow-in-the-dark bracelets and fun stuff like that, something on a smaller scale, even like sparklers, not them holding them, but them being able to be close to them because they don't make a lot of noise.
But as Hawkins expresses, it's all about finding ways to include them in the festivities.
They want to experience the holidays like everybody else. It might look a little different for them, but it's just as fun for them.
For Good Morning East Texas, I'm Andrea Valdez.
Hawkins says another way to include the kids is finding a live stream of fireworks shows, allowing the kids to experience the colors without all of the loud noises. Or keep the kids in